Okay, so today we're diving deep into Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Oh, a classic.
Yeah, it's been requested a few times, so we're finally getting to it.
It's a good one.
Right. I mean, it promises this like secret formula
Right.
to get wealth and success, which uh, who wouldn't want that?
I mean, that's the dream, right?
Exactly. And, Hill claims he came up with this formula by spending like over 20 years studying all these super successful people.
Yeah, he rubbed shoulders with some pretty big names.
Like, yeah, the biggest name being Andrew Carnegie, right? Steel magnate, one of the richest guys ever.
Yeah, and what's really cool is it's not just Hill saying, hey, I figured it out.
Yeah.
He brings in all these different perspectives.
Oh, yeah.
Like stories from his own research, quotes from famous people backing up his ideas. Early on, he called it the law of success, guys. Like former President Taft, even.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and F.W. Woolworth, the five and dime guy.
Right, right.
Plus, he throws in these like captivating stories of people who supposedly use this secret to make it big.
Oh, it's like proof, right? Like, look, it worked for them.
Exactly.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this whole book and kind of distill the main points.
Yeah, try to unpack it all.
Yeah, give you the real meat of it in a way that's hopefully clear and actionable,
Yeah, no need to get bogged down in like every single detail.
Right, just the core, most impactful stuff. And hopefully this will help you figure out like how to actually use these ideas in your own life.
Yeah, because it's one thing to read about success, it's another to actually, achieve it.
Totally, totally. Okay, so let's get started with like how this whole secret thing is introduced, right?
Right, because Hill really plays this up like it's this big mystery.
Oh yeah.
So he starts off with this story about how Andrew Carnegie basically gave him this like challenge, right? Carnegie tells him, hey, spend the next 20 plus years, figure out the fundamental secret to success, and then share it with everyone, especially the people who need it the most.
It's like a quest.
It is.
And so Think and Grow Rich is basically presented as like the result of that quest, right?
Exactly. It's the culmination of all that research and supposed testing on thousands of people.
Right. Like Hill says he's tried this out on like people from all walks of life.
All walks of life.
And it's supposed to have worked for everyone, which
is a pretty bold claim.
it is. It is. But I mean, Carnegie himself was so convinced about this secret that he thought like if it was taught properly, it could revolutionize education.
Mike and me thought it could cut learning time in half. Imagine that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like kids graduating high school in, what, 4 years instead of 8?
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So here's the really fascinating part. Hill mentions this secret over and over again in the book. Like, he says it's there over 100 times.
Oh, really?
But he never actually says what it is directly. It's like he wants you to figure it out for yourself.
Oh, like it's hidden in plain sight.
Exactly. Maybe it's like it only becomes clear when you're like really ready for it.
That's interesting.
Right. It's almost like a puzzle, like Carnegie giving you all the pieces and saying, go ahead, put it together.
So as we go through these different principles, I think our listeners should like keep an ear out
Yeah, be on the lookout.
for that recurring theme, the thing that keeps popping up.
See if you can pick up on it.
Right. Maybe you'll have that aha moment and figure out the secret for yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's move on to one of the first big principles Hill talks about, which is desire.
Right. And he starts with this great story about Edwin C. Barnes.
I didn't see Barnes.
Okay, Barnes had this like burning desire, but it wasn't just a vague, I want to be rich kind of thing.
It was more specific.
Way more specific. His desire was to be Thomas Edison's business partner. Not just work for him, but be his partner.
Oh, wow. That's ambitious.
Right. But here's the thing. It wasn't just some like daydream for him. He was completely committed to making it happen.
Like he had a plan.
Oh, absolutely. He like visualized it, mapped it out,
Yeah.
and then went for it.
And he actually went to Orange, New Jersey.
Yeah, where Edison's lab was.
Without like an invitation or anything.
Nope, just showed up with this unwavering belief that he was going to make it happen.
Wow. That's bold.
It is. And, Hill emphasizes that Barnes didn't just like passively wish for this. He took action. Like he burned all his bridges behind
So
him.
there was no turning back.
Exactly. No backup plan, just pure focused desire pushing him forward.
And Hill uses this to illustrate his point that like real success needs that kind of fire, right? Like a burning desire to win.
Absolutely. It can't just be something you kind of want. It has to be this deep driving force that fuels everything you do.
And he gives another example, right? Like the
Uh-huh.
guy who rebuilt his store after the Chicago fire.
Oh, yeah, Marshall Field. That story's incredible. So picture this. The whole city's basically in ruins.
Devastating fire.
Yeah. And Field is standing there amidst the wreckage of his store.
Wow.
And what does he do? He declares right then and there that he's going to rebuild it and make it the greatest store in the world.
It's like he didn't even hesitate.
Not for a second. And while his competitors were, like, packing up and leaving, Field was driven by this burning desire to come back stronger than ever.
It's like he saw an opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Hill argues that it was this unwavering desire that allowed him to succeed where others failed.
And it's interesting how he connects this to like inventors and innovators, right?
Right, he talks about dreamers being the real pioneers.
Yeah, like Henry Ford with his idea of a car, or Edison with the light bulb, you know?
People thought they were crazy at the time.
Right, a horseless carriage? What is that?
But they had this intense desire that fueled their persistence, and eventually they changed the world.
So like thinking about our own goals, right, our listeners.
Yeah, what about you guys listening?
Like how badly do you want the things you're aiming for? Is it just a casual thought or is it like a fire in your belly?
That's a good question to think about.
Yeah, because that level of desire, it can make all the difference.
It really can.
Okay, so building on desire, Hill brings up faith and something he calls autosuggestion, which sounds kind of fancy.
Yeah, but basically the power of, like, self-talk, what we call affirmations today.
Okay, so like the things we tell ourselves.
Right. And Hill describes faith as this eternal elixir, like the foundation for achieving any kind of wealth.
Not just money, right?
Exactly. It could be wealth in relationships, knowledge, anything you value.
It was like believing in yourself and your ability to achieve what you desire.
Exactly. And to show this in action, he tells this amazing story about the creation of the U.S. Steel Corporation.
Oh, yeah, huge company.
Gigantic. And Hill credits this whole thing, like this massive undertaking, to a young guy named Charles M. Schwab, who basically applied this principle of unwavering faith.
And this led to like enormous wealth and opportunity. Right?
Oh, absolutely. Hill even suggests this single instance was worth like $600 million back then, which is, an insane amount of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of faith paying off.
It is. And think of faith here not just as some religious thing, but as that absolute certainty in your ability to make your desire a reality.
So then he talks about autosuggestion, which is how we program our minds, right?
Exactly. It's about consciously using our thoughts to shape our reality.
And he emphasizes that our subconscious mind, like that part of us that's always working in the background.
Yeah, the workshop of our thoughts.
Right. It doesn't really judge what we feed it, whether it's true or false.
It just takes whatever we repeat to ourselves over and over and turns it into reality.
It's like we're planting seeds in our minds.
That's a great analogy.
And this leads to Hill's self-confidence formula, which is basically a structured way to use autosuggestion in a positive way.
Right, so it involves clearly stating your definite purpose, like what you really want to achieve,
Okay.
then demanding consistent action towards that purpose, not just dreaming about it, but actually doing something.
Right.
And then promising yourself that you will take that action.
So it's like a 3-step process.
It is. And on the flip side, Hill warns about what he calls mental suicide, which is basically the opposite.
Oh, like negative self-talk.
Yeah, constantly bombarding yourself with doubt and fear.
And he says this can be just as powerful in bringing about negative results.
Absolutely. He even shares this chilling story about a bank official who basically worried himself to death.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was so consumed by guilt and fear that it seemed like he willed himself to die.
That's pretty intense.
It is.
So it's like, what kind of self-talk are we giving ourselves? And
Exactly.
so,
Are we building ourselves up or are we tearing ourselves down?
because those thoughts, they have real power.
Yeah, they really do. And have you ever thought about using affirmations, like writing them down, repeating them out loud?
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that.
It can be surprisingly powerful.
Okay, so moving on. Hill emphasizes the importance of like knowledge and planning, right?
Right. But he makes this distinction. It's not just about having knowledge, it's about specialized knowledge, like
Yeah.
the specific kind you need for your goal.
Okay, so not just like general knowledge.
No, it's got to be targeted, relevant to what you're trying to achieve.
And then you have to organize it, right? Put it into a plan.
Absolutely. He says knowledge without a plan is like a bunch of ingredients without a recipe.
Oh, yeah, you can't bake a cake with just flour and sugar.
You need the whole recipe, the steps, the measurements, all that.
And he gives examples of like successful people who didn't necessarily have a lot of formal education.
Right, like Edison, Ford, Wanamaker, these guys were all about practical, applied knowledge.
They learned what they needed to know to make their ideas work.
Exactly. And Hill stresses that the first step is figuring out what kind of knowledge is actually crucial for your specific purpose.
Okay, so, like, what do you actually need to learn?
Right. What are the essential skills and information for your field?
And then he talks about the importance of continuous learning, right? Like, always staying updated and being an expert in your area.
Yeah, especially in today's world, things are changing so fast.
Like, you can't just learn one thing and be set for life.
Nope. Got to keep evolving, keep growing.
And he even mentions this idea of, like, marketing yourself, your skills.
Yeah, like being strategic about your career.
Which is, yeah, that's important nowadays.
It is. And he tells this fascinating story about this woman who created this, like, detailed plan book for her son.
A plan book.
Yeah, it was more than just a resume. It was this, like, comprehensive strategy document outlining his skills, his experience, and how he was going to approach getting his dream job.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
It is. And it even included, like, insights into the potential employer's competitors, like showing he'd done his research.
Wow, that's going the extra mile.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just shows the power of, like, really thinking things through and having a clear, organized plan.
So thinking about our listeners, right?
Yeah, for everyone listening.
How well are you, like, organizing your current knowledge? Are you actively seeking out the specific knowledge you need for your goals? And are you turning that knowledge into concrete plans that you're actually following?
Because knowledge without action, it's not going to get you very far.
Right. It's got to be put to use.
Exactly.
Okay, next up we have imagination, which Hill calls the workshop of the mind.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
And he makes this distinction between two types of imagination, right? Like synthetic imagination.
Right, which is basically taking existing ideas and combining them in new ways.
Okay, like putting pieces together.
Exactly. And then there's creative imagination, which is where totally new ideas come from.
Like out of the blue.
Yeah, like that aha moment, the flash of insight.
Almost like intuition.
Right. And while both are important, Hill really emphasizes developing your synthetic imagination as a way to turn your desire into, like, tangible results.
So, like, using your imagination to actually create a plan, to figure out the steps.
Exactly. And he encourages you to, like, actively use your imagination in this process to visualize the outcome you want.
And he gives this example of the guy who sold the recipe for Coca-Cola.
Oh, yeah, the old doctor who had the secret formula.
Oh, yeah. And he sold it for, like, $500?
$500, and it turned into, well, Coca-Cola.
Which is like a multi-billion-dollar company now.
Talk about the power of an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And Hill makes this point that you can often sell an idea when you can't sell a product. Like, the idea is the foundation.
It's like the seed.
Exactly.
And he also tells this story about Dr. Frank Gonzalez.
Oh, the one who wanted to start a college?
Yeah, but he didn't have the money.
Yeah, he needed $1 million, which
Yeah.
was a fortune back then.
And so what did he do?
Well, he had this burning desire, right, this vision of this college.
Right.
And so he gave this powerful sermon called What I Would Do If I Had $1 Million.
And that's how he got the funding.
It is. Like, his passion and his vision, they inspired people to support him.
It's the power of belief, right?
Absolutely. And this leads to the mastermind principle, which Hill introduces here.
Okay, so what's the mastermind?
Well, it's basically the idea of surrounding yourself with a group of people who can help you achieve your goals.
Like a team.
Yeah, but it's more than just a team. It's like a group of advisors, mentors, people who can offer different perspectives and hold you accountable.
Okay, so it's like leveraging the power of collaboration.
Exactly. Hill believed that no one achieves great things alone.
You need that support system.
You do.
So, like, for our listeners, right now, are you actively using your imagination to brainstorm and visualize your plans? And who are the people you could connect with to form a mastermind group to really boost your creative power?
It's worth thinking about.
Yeah, because that collective energy, it can really make a difference.
For sure.
Okay, so now we get to decision and persistence.
2 essential ingredients for success.
Oh, yeah, you can't have one without the other.
Right. Like, you can have the best plan in the world, but if you can't make decisions and stick to them.
It's not going to go anywhere.
Exactly. And Hill says that leaders are known for making decisions quickly and firmly.
They don't waver.
Nope. They see an opportunity and they go for it.
While indecision, he says, is a habit that holds people back.
It's like a paralysis.
Yeah, you get stuck in that loop of like, what if?
And you never actually move forward.
And he also talks about the importance of having a clear purpose.
Right, knowing what you're aiming for, what your guiding principle is.
That helps you make those decisions, right?
Absolutely. When you know what you truly want, it's easier to say yes or no to opportunities.
Okay, so that's decision. And then persistence, he says that's crucial for overcoming setbacks.
Which we all face, right? Like, no one's journey is a straight line to success.
There are bumps along the way.
Exactly. And Hill argues that every failure, every setback, it contains a valuable lesson.
It's like an opportunity to learn and grow.
Right. He says every failure has the seed of an equivalent advantage.
That's interesting.
Right. So instead of seeing failure as the end, you see it as a stepping stone.
And he lists a bunch of things that fuel persistence, right? Like desire, self-reliance, having clear plans, accurate knowledge, cooperation, willpower.
And making persistence a habit, like
Hmm.
it's something you practice every day.
So it's not just like a one-time thing, it's a way of life.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And he tells this great story about R.U. Darby, the gold miner.
Oh yeah, the guy who gave up too soon.
Yeah, he quit digging for gold just 3 feet away from a massive vein.
Oh man, that's heartbreaking.
Talk about bad timing. But he learned a huge lesson from that experience.
And applied it to his insurance career, right?
Right. He became super persistent, wouldn't take no for an answer, and eventually became incredibly successful.
It's like he turned that failure into fuel.
He did. And so Hill asks us to consider, how persistent are we when it comes to our goals? Do we give up easily, or do we keep going even when things get tough?
Do we see failures as dead ends or detours?
That's the key question.
Yeah, because our perspective on failure can really shape our entire journey.
For sure.
Okay, so we talked about the mastermind principle a little bit before, but Hill really dives deep into it later in the book.
Yeah, he gives it a whole chapter.
And he defines it as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose.
Which sounds a bit formal, but basically it's about teamwork, collaboration, and leveraging the collective power of a group.
Right, and he really believes that no one achieves lasting success without utilizing this principle.
It's like a fundamental law of success, according to Hill.
And he even talks about this like psychic aspect of the mastermind.
Right, where he suggests that when minds work together in harmony, they create this like spiritual energy.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Right, like 1 + 1 = 3.
Exactly. And he uses the analogy of electric batteries.
Okay.
Like a group of batteries connected together can produce more power than a single battery.
So it's like amplifying your mental energy.
Exactly. And he uses Henry Ford as an example.
Oh yeah, the car guy.
Right. And Hill points out that Ford's real success started after he connected with all these brilliant minds like Edison, Firestone, Burroughs, Burbank.
He's like he formed his own mastermind.
He did. And Hill suggests that through these relationships, Ford was able to absorb their knowledge and thought power, which propelled him to even greater heights.
So it's like surrounding yourself with people who can elevate you.
Exactly. And Hill believed that we take on the characteristics, the habits, the mental power of the people we associate with, especially when it's in a spirit of cooperation and understanding.
So choose your company wisely.
Very wisely. And he sees life as this, like, stream where positive emotions move us towards success and negative emotions pull us towards failure.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Right. And the mastermind, it's like having a strong team to help you navigate that stream, to avoid the walks and rapids.
To keep you on course.
Exactly.
So for our listeners, who's in your mastermind right now? And are there people you could strategically connect with to create an even stronger, more supportive group?
That's a powerful question to consider.
It is, because the right connections can make all the difference.
Absolutely.
All right, now we get to a slightly more unusual principle, the mystery of sex transmutation.
Yeah, this one often raises eyebrows.
It does.
But it's important to understand what Hill is really talking about here.
Okay, so let's break it down.
He starts by suggesting that sexual energy is the fundamental creative energy of all geniuses.
Okay.
It's this powerful, basic driving force in all of us.
But he's not just talking about, like, the physical act, right?
No, it's deeper than that.
It's like life force energy.
Exactly. And he's talking about channeling this energy, this passion, this drive into other areas of your life.
So, like, transmuting it into creative work, into your ambitions.
Right. He believed that people who can master this, who can harness this powerful energy and redirect it, they can achieve incredible things.
It's like taking that intensity and focusing it on your goals.
That's a great way to put it.
And he mentions like scientific research suggesting that highly successful people often have a strong sexual nature.
And have learned to channel it
Right,
effectively.
it's not about suppressing it, it's about redirecting it.
Exactly.
So for our listeners, think about how you're currently directing your energy and passion. Are you using this powerful force in a productive way? Are you channeling it into your goals and aspirations?
It's definitely something to reflect on.
Yeah, because it's a powerful source of energy that we all have within us.
Absolutely.
Okay, so circling back to the subconscious mind, Hill really emphasizes how much it's influenced by our emotions.
Yeah, he says it's like a sponge soaking up whatever we're feeling.
And he breaks down emotions into two categories, right? Positive and negative?
Right. So on the positive side, you have things like desire, faith, love, enthusiasm, courage.
Okay.
And on the negative side, you have fear, hatred, jealousy, revenge, greed.
And he says the subconscious is more receptive to thoughts that are emotionally charged.
Yeah, it's like emotions amplify the message.
So, if we're constantly feeding our subconscious with fear and doubt,
It's going to manifest that in our reality.
and the same goes for positive emotions, right?
Absolutely. But here's the thing. Negative emotions, they tend to creep in easily.
Oh, yeah, it's like our default settings sometimes.
It can be, but positive emotions, they require conscious effort. We have to cultivate them.
It's like we have to be intentional about feeling good.
Right. And this is where autosuggestion comes in again, like using affirmations and positive self-talk to reprogram our minds.
So it's like we're actively choosing what we want to feel and believe.
Exactly. We're taking control of our emotional state.
And this brings up an important question for our listeners, right? Like, are you consciously feeding your subconscious with positive emotions that are aligned with your desires? Or are you letting negativity take over?
Because what you focus on, it expands.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, so finally, we get to what Hill calls outwitting the 6 ghosts of fear.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah, right. But these ghosts, they're not supernatural, they're very real.
They're the fears that hold us back from achieving our full potential.
And Hill argues that indecision is like the root of all fear.
Yeah, it creates this breeding ground for doubt.
And doubt leads to fear.
Exactly. And then those two combine and grow into like full-blown fear, often without us even realizing it.
It's like a sneaky process.
It is. And then he breaks down the 6 main fears that he identifies.
Okay, what are they?
So we have the fear of poverty.
Okay, that's a big one.
It is. And Hill links this to like a subconscious tendency to exploit others financially, to be afraid of lack and scarcity.
Okay.
Then there's the fear of criticism, which he says can rob us of our initiative, make us afraid to put ourselves out there.
Because we're worried about what people will think.
Exactly. Then we have the fear of ill health, which he suggests can sometimes actually manifest as physical symptoms.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like if you're constantly worried about getting sick, you might actually make yourself sick.
It's like the power of the mind.
It is. Then there's the fear of loss of love, which is a deep-seated fear for many people.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It is. And Hill connects this to things like jealousy, possessiveness, and the fear of rejection.
Okay.
Then we have the fear of old age, which he describes as the fear of becoming useless, irrelevant, a burden.
Yeah, that's a common fear.
It is. And then finally, there's the fear of death, the ultimate fear.
And he gives advice on how to overcome each of these fears, right?
He does. And his main piece of advice is the power of decision.
Okay, so like making a choice.
Exactly. He says that when we make a clear, definite decision, it cuts through the worry and indecision that fuel our fears.
It's like we're taking back control.
We are. And he shares this story about a condemned man who finds peace by accepting his fate.
It's like once he made the decision, the fear went away.
Exactly. And so, Hill's advice is to confront each fear head on, to take action, and to make a firm decision to overcome it.
It's not about ignoring the fear, it's about facing it.
Right. And he even includes a set of self-reflection questions to help you figure out which fears are holding you back.
So for our listeners, the challenge is to identify which of these ghosts might be lurking in your own mind.
And more importantly, to consider the power of making a firm decision to face them.
To choose courage over fear.
Exactly. Because the act of deciding itself can be a powerful antidote to fear.
That's a good point.
It is.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into Think and Grow Rich, it's clear that Hill presents a comprehensive philosophy, right?
Absolutely. It's all about harnessing the power of our thoughts, our desires, our beliefs, our plans, and our relentless persistence.
It's like a blueprint for success.
It is. And throughout the book, we see this emphasis on a central secret, even though it's never directly revealed.
It's like a hidden treasure.
It is, and maybe it's different for everyone, or maybe it's something we all discover in our own time.
That's an interesting thought.
Right, but the real value, as Hill himself says, isn't just in hearing these ideas, it's in actively engaging with them, in thinking about how they apply to your own life.
It's about taking action.
Exactly. So for our listeners, what principle resonated with you the most? What's one small step you can take today, right after listening to this, to start putting these ideas into practice?
And maybe, come back to this episode from time to time, revisit these principles, and see how they can continue to guide you on your journey.
Because Think and Grow Rich, it's a book that can offer new insights every time you read it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth revisiting.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's it for today's deep dive.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
See you next time.